Welcome to the Pink Hearse podcast, a real and whimsical look at what it means to be fully alive with all the joy and chaos and pressure and vulnerability and beauty. Take the ride along with unexpected guests and be inspired to fall in love with your own unique destiny and meaning. What is, what was, what killed he, and what will it take to revive her? The Hearse's tank is overflowing, so let's soak up some straight gas as we speak to our guest, Molly Jordan, and a very special appearance from her grandmother. And we'll see who else decides to show up on this cross-universe road trip of an episode. First, let's check in with Zach and our monsters.
Am I the last to leave or first to arrive? Alone on this barren branch, I cannot tell if winter has ended or is about to begin. Where is everyone? All of my friends? Did I sleep through the migration alarm? They wouldn't have left me behind. Or did they? Or was I the one who prematurely departed, greedy for the first gifts of spring? My talons are slipping. I sing out in hopes they will hear me and confuse my echoes for a response. Madness visits, but even she has left me. Empty of hope, I give up trying, and surrendering to the stillness, hear the tree beneath me speak. Dear Crow, it is so nice to have company again. I thought for sure I was the only one left in the world. This episode is sponsored by Psychic Condiments. Have you heard the news? This just in. Christ is not a Girl Scout and he needs a vacation from door-to-door cookie slanging. So, metaphorically tweaking, from here on out, when in need of a potent reminder of the intense sacrificial nature of what lies at the core of existence, you must now eateth of thou selfeth. Got it? The menu is a mirror and you are on it. Okay, so, our sponsors have designed divine meta dipping sauces so that you can not only devour yourself but also enjoy that. Strawberry mint, hot pink orange, blue raspberry, and caramel sage are now available. And for a limited time, first purchase customers will receive self-sticking sprinkles. Word up. Amen.
There's no way you're not looking if you're listening to this podcast. Looking for something, for some song, some spark. By chance, you found us, so why not allow chance to guide and illuminate your path? Roll the dice that come along with your copy of God Help Me I'm Awake, Volume 1, Wisdom Quotes for Daily Awakening. To laugh and be inspired, go to godhelpmeimawake.com. Again, that is godhelpmeimawake.com, godhelpmeimawake.com.
Our guest today is Molly Jordan, MFT. A Jungian analyst in private practice who welcomes both the visible and invisible inhabitants of the ancient Chumash land where you, resides. How are you?
I think I just fell down the rabbit hole with you, Zach.
I know. It's kind of psychedelic.
That's quite
that came
a
through
start.
this morning. I know. It's kind of
the
just
poem or the advertisement came through?
The poem is from the past. A few years ago, I wrote that poem. And I have never read it on this show when I read your article, it kind of whispered to me. It felt related to you talking to various minerals, plants, animals, creatures. So, and then but the advertisement, shout out to the sponsors that came through this morning. They sent a fat check this morning. So
I'm glad you're in the Creative Depth program. It's a good fit, apparently.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a scuba dive situation. So
yeah.
Before we begin, as I mentioned, I like to roll the dice to see which ancestors would like to join us. And this is from our new book, God Help Me I'm Awake. Much love to everyone involved in creating that. So we got 4, 6, 2, always purple, pink, black. and we got Rumi. No, we got 426, dyslexia at its finest. Hold on. We got Ruth Strasberg. Do you know Ruth?
Of course.
Yeah. So we got Ruth. So she's here with us, and she and I curated these quotes together. She sent me an envelope of thousands as the train passes. The train's a-coming. Thousands of handwritten Post-it notes that Ruth has collected over past decades, and she knows how much I appreciate and collect these word fossils as ways to keep myself afloat and connected to meaning. So Ruth says, "We are eternity compartmentalizing itself."
Wow. But let me just ask you something.
Yeah.
So did you read 2, 4, 6?
4, 2,
And then
6.
you added them up.
You don't add them. It's just a
Okay.
sequence at the top of each page.
Oh, I see. 2. Okay.
So it goes from 111 all the way to 666.
And you have 426?
And we have 426
Okay,
because
that's
it's
how it
purple,
landed.
pink, black.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's compartmentalize ourselves a bit here. As you know, what brought us here in this moment now with Juju dreaming, I assume, on the carpet next to us.
Such good company we keep.
I'm lucky he tolerates me. So I just started my graduate program at Pacifica, where you also attended, and Molly, my wife, attended. And as I began my second semester for an active imagination class, I went and printed out my articles, which I do for the e-readings that aren't in books. I like to wake up 4 or 5 a.m. to give myself this kind of pre-dawn time to experience such intense topics and writings. And I've had to adjust, acclimate to that level and style of scholarly depth
And rigor.
writing. Yeah, all of it. And I find that time is special for me. So I look down and I take a sip of my coffee. I do my morning feed, Juju, etc. And your article is right there.
That's so wild.
It's amazing.
That's so wild.
It's so special.
Because it's old. It's quite
2015, I believe, is when it was published.
Oh, it was? Okay, because I think I wrote it in 2013.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, yeah, and
It's back.
It's back. It's eternal. We are eternity compartmentalizing itself, but it's definitely back. And I saw you however long ago, and we got to meet your amazing horses.
Yeah.
And Rock got to say hi to them as well.
Yeah.
And et cetera. So there you are. And I read this, I loved your piece. It really struck me and felt like obviously a synchronicity, but a really powerful one at a time when I, in and out with this program, I'll go from feeling divinely aligned with how grateful and this is the coolest thing I've ever done, and then also what am I doing, hard to juggle with family life, etc. And I was feeling that a bit, and then your article just, reconnected me to the path, so to speak.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
That was worth everything then.
I mean, yeah, and I know it's touched many others as well. So for this episode, as I prepared the episode, instead of pulling rabbits out of hats, obviously I pulled a couple this morning, but instead of trying to conjure questions or prompts, what I decided to do is pull passages from your piece and reanimate them with you now.
Cool.
Because it sounded like when I told you about having come across your article, that it kind of rekindled something in you, perhaps. I don't know if that's my just assumption, but...
No, it's not your assumption. It's true. I'm grateful to you for reconnecting it to me and for it reconnecting to me because someone else brought it to my attention recently. So I personally need the reminder, but I think it's the time to dig into that again. So
amazing.
I'm grateful.
Perfect.
I really am.
I feel it and I appreciate it. And I'm grateful to it and perhaps ourselves with capital S's or whatever snaky whatever's happening.
Yeah, I was just going to say, here it is.
Exactly.
It really wanted to come.
I know. So that's important. And I finished writing a song. This is completely neither here nor there, but I'm very into neither here nor there's in general these days.
That's a place.
Yeah, it is. As a place, it's almost like Molly says I'm in my blue phase if I was a painter, and that entails surrendering to my own idiosyncratic, personal, whatever makes me giggle, cringe, whatever's popping in my head. So the neither here nor there is not needing a logical explanation of why my brain just jumped here.
Nice.
And just trusting that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So
you become your own internal authority of where you are.
And that's an alienating, it's almost like before now with my work, and it's a balance, of course, because I don't want to surrender fully to that place because then there's no context. So I like having the tether, the same as when young, as an example.
You're a householder.
Exactly. And so having the daylight time and whatever you want to call it, honoring the different personalities and sides. But I finished writing a song this morning that my best friend Kevin produced, and he titled the instrumental, and we're keeping it, Rabbits Have Habits Too as Well. And so I'm just bringing this rabbit who has habits too as well. I love the redundancy of two as well. To the snake. So it's the rabbit and the snake today.
Ooh, that's a combo.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're friends.
Okay. Well, they're okay.
Yeah. I think the snake's a little intimidated by this rabbit.
Oh, you'll have to tell me.
Yeah. It'll tell us.
We'll see as we go.
We'll see. That's also Rock and I growing up, one of our favorite dishes. What are you having for dinner? We'll see.
Yeah.
What's we'll see taste like? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's a nice way to be
menu.
in life, right?
We'll see.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
exactly.
quotes in here is, I believe, Krishnamurti saying, "You want to know my secret? I don't mind what happens." That's a we'll see.
Yeah, well, that reminds me of a yoga teacher I had who said, after a big earthquake or something, I accept all energy.
The guest house, Rumi.
Well, yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Welcome whatever comes.
And see them out maybe as well.
And who?
See them out.
Oh, see them out.
Keep the front and back door open.
Right.
Watch out for
it's
squatters.
your house after all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stay for tea. There's an allotment of time.
Yeah.
And then visiting hours are over.
Yeah, close the door.
So to begin with your article begins with, if someone offered you free passage to an exotic land where all things are possible, would you accept that invitation and travel there? Jung has bequeathed us just such a gift with his technique of active imagination. But given the prevailing collective attitude towards the imagination, that it undermines reality, it is understandable why it's difficult to experience active imagination as anything beyond an exercise of the rational mind. By considering the current literature, as well as by sharing personal active imaginations, this author, the author, hopes to show that when it is experienced as something that occurs outside the province of the mind, it offers direct transit to the soul, to the realm of the feminine. I love that, traveling from the province of the mind to the realm of the feminine. By talking to the entities encountered there, we are able to restore the balance undone by our reliance on the rational. Our reliance on the rational.
Do you think that's a Freudian slip?
I think it's probably. It is in that restoration that we will find the potential healing of our natural world. So this article was published a decade ago, perhaps written 12 years ago, which seems like a cycle completion or something like that, 12. What adventures to the realm of the feminine have transpired since then, if you've been going there, your passport stamping? Where are you in relation to these words today?
Well, that's a really good question. And okay, let's just get real, because what comes up is the irrational in me is having more of a place in my life. And that's the thing that we're so frightened of. And me too, because, I have ancestors who took it to a level I never wanted to visit. But they are the ones with whom I'm conversing now. And I think we're in this time, and that's why I'm so grateful to you for bringing this back, where I need to take it a lot more seriously and amp up the work, the personal work, which I have done and heard in active imaginations recently. I'm a big proponent of active imaginations, partly because I'm Irish, so it's territory that comes kind of naturally to me.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah. I don't think Irish people feel the judgment about accepting the little people, the fairies, and the thresholds over which we can travel to other territories. So
Less shame.
maybe no shame. I mean, Irish people, generally Catholic, have a lot of shame, but probably no shame around that. It's just is. It's just part of the DNA or something, maybe, So, however, I will say, writing this article, I had a certain amount of shame. I was afraid. That's why I sort of said it as a confession from the very first, like, let's just get this out of the way. I talked to rocks.
Yeah.
I love that your son is named Rock.
Yeah.
So, but I want to start off, Zach, given your question, and I don't know the answer to it yet, but I'm just feeling this big push from Snake that wants to be here too. So I don't quite know how to honor that. What I'm aware of is that in this piece, I wrote about this woman whom I consider to be an aspect of my grandmother.
I want to invite her in. I was going to mention it later. I still will, but if she wants to join us in any way. Yeah. Thank
you. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I did an active imagination with her this morning, or she's the one. So maybe she's here. And that figure of that old crazy woman transformed into a snake in this piece, as you know. And I do think...
Oh, yes. I do remember now. Yeah.
Also, we were talking about geography this morning in the land, and I was in Topanga at the time in that yurt, and the snake, the rattlesnake particularly, played a huge part in the work I did there and transformed me. So maybe that's why it wants to both be here with you and I, and with me also personally to remind me of Snake.
And we're still in the year of the snake, apparently, until
February.
Is it till February?
I think it's February 18th.
Great. So we can blame all our spiking depressions and various...
Go for it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to highlight what popped in my head when you mentioned taking it more seriously, the irrational, and just as a word, nerd. I love the idea of being more serious about irrational things.
Good.
That paradox.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game for me.
Well, what does that even look, what would it look like if we weren't, if our first instinct wasn't to judge it and say that's terrible and try to banish it from our kingdoms relationally and personally, what would it look like?
I mean, you're looking at my version of it more and more, whether it's the remnants of nails painted, which I don't want to do anymore because I don't like what happens to the nails At least
Well, you have to have a base coat.
is that what? But they did. I don't know. Maybe it was just too much chemicals. Molly has some healthy ones, but for me, it's this woodcut that Kevin, who I mentioned,
The songwriter, Kevin, your best
songwriter
friend?
and producer of this podcast, and just my kamikaze co-pilot. This is a woodcut that says filibuster in Japanese, which was the name of a song we did recently for a project. But all of this is a filibuster, if you will. To me, it's a match made in purgatory. It's a constant rewriting every day, seeing what wants to come through. It's very playful. It's very different for all of us. It's this rooster that my dad bought me.
I mean, the thing that's great about you doing this and the way you just said it is, and you've said it to me, you want to see what comes. But even more than that, you make a lot of room for it. And that's not an easy thing to do.
Especially not, this was also a point I jotted down, Kurt Vonnegut's idea that art is not to make a living, it's to make your soul grow.
Yeah.
And the reclamation of that,
Yeah.
creativity as perhaps the most important and powerful medicine there is known to us. I mean, that might be Hillman's argument, that everything is creative and that therapy is creative and that therapists have the potential to get
it's the
trapped.
potentiality.
Potential to get trapped in an image, a stereotypical image of supposed to be, basically of you're expected to be holding it together, to be a standard of sanity. Can be a prison, whereas the eccentricities, which you're saying are bubbling more.
Well, also, I mean, this made me nuts by the way, in your introduction, you said I have a clinical practice or something. I don't anymore.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I was just,
I
doing
know.
half-ass research based off your outdated article.
Well, it's a good thing because I'm glad you made that point because it allows me to say this, which
good.
is I'm glad I don't have a practice anymore. And part of it is because I always felt, to your point that you just made, that it didn't make sense to try to not be in the room as a human with failings because to hold up some bullshit image of who we are and to withhold parts of ourselves seems to me to block that flow of life. And of course, you have to do it responsibly, like you have to do anything that's slightly dangerous or has the potential to harm, with that in mind and ethically. But I think we tend to err on the side of get out of the way, don't be there. So, okay, this is the snake story. I'm going to tell you a clinical practice story. So when we moved to Topanga, I was afraid of the rattlesnakes that I was going to encounter there. And I moved my practice from an office in the city that you took an elevator up to and to this yurt on the land in Topanga. So the first thing I did accidentally was when I was snake fencing the vegetable garden, I didn't realize until one day I was out there and I had fenced in a baby rattlesnake.
Wow.
And
I knew you were going to say that when you started to describe it, but that's...
You did?
I heard it just like a flash second before you.
See, you're letting what comes come.
Yeah.
So I went in to look up to read something. Of course, just go read something. And I read that, you probably know this too, that they're potentially the most lethal because they don't have any powers of discrimination. So when they bite with all their venom. An older rattlesnake can sort of assess and discriminate and say, oh, I only need this much for this. Okay, so I learned that and think, well, that's really interesting. And we're newly in Ojai, and I'm newly about to see some of my clients.
So the young ones are potentially the most deadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wow, this snake is taking up a lot of room. I'm
love
suddenly
it.
being flooded with, oh, you got to say this and you got to say that. And okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so as a Jungian analyst, we see 2 clinic patients for a very low fee that gets paid to the clinic based on their income level, right?
Contribution to the movement, to the,
Yeah,
sort of.
to the clinic. It's a low fee clinic.
Yeah. Got
So it allows people who can't afford analysis to come. And every analyst donates that 2 hours weekly. So I'm about to welcome these clients of mine that have come to this fancy city office. And the two of them separately drive really fancy, expensive cars, which I had never seen because I was up in that tower and didn't have to. And I was pissed. And I realized, oh, I'm baby snake pissed. This snake has come here to teach me how to discriminate venom. That, first of all, venom is appropriate. It fits. You need to sometimes, but not me, the nice Catholic girl who grew up trying to swallow all of her rage and everything. You know, I can't do that. But this snake said, you have to. You just have to use the right amount. So that was a really great lesson in venom and how it fits. And I had really interesting reactions from those 2 clients when I bit them. Yeah.
Wow. Venom smoothies.
There you go.
Catholic venom smoothies that you have to drink your own venom.
Yeah.
Until you start,
Yeah. And then here's the other thing that I think precipitated a really deep connection to these reptiles is that I killed a baby snake when I was up there, which is also not like me. It takes a certain amount of energy and willingness to confront your own brutality to do it. And I didn't have a great tool. So I just did it with whatever I had, and it was terrible. And I did it because my horse was a baby at the time, and the 2 of them were about to meet, and I thought, this is not going to go well for the horse. So I killed the snake. And after I did, I'm just so blown away that this is so snaky today. After I did, I swore I would never do that again, and I would learn how to move them, and I would honor their place in my life. So you're bringing that back too today.
I don't take any credit. It's all Juju. I'm just his talking head.
Well, thank you, Juju.
Exactly. Thank you, Juju. All sorts of thoughts. I'm going to stay on my little glove box map to honor your article. And so just to sort of stay on the path in myself, because it's so potent and rich what you're saying. Okay. So, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. Albert Einstein, which you quoted in your article. So, in your article, you talk about the slander of imagination and how kind of blatant and hilarious it is when you look directly at it. As I track in my schooling, unschooling, whatever you want to call it, throughout my life, but Pacifica is really just affirming things that I've known intuitively and instinctually since I was a young man and before, that I've been babbling about recklessly. And now I'm just seeing this wonderful, nuanced, subtle, overwhelmingly affirming reflection of these things explored intricately by inner space astronauts throughout time,
Mm-hmm.
that is giving that little bit of my logic police just enough sedative to go to sleep officially, not to die, but or to surrender to at least 90% less questioning all the time, and this unbearable tension, which makes sense of a divorced child, between surrendering to the magic, whatever you want to call it, and you're crazy / whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I just say something here, Zach,
please.
before you ask me a question? Because I don't want to forget this point.
Yeah.
I think that quantum physics is helping us relate better to this mysterious realm that the rational mind can't grab and explain to itself.
And the telepathy tapes,
Okay.
if you're familiar.
I'm not. What
Kai
are they?
Dickens. It's a very popular show that highlights the certain level of autistic community, and how all of them, or a high amount when tested and explored, and how this knowledge has been quite repressed as well, are telepathic and meet at a place called the Hill, remotely. They all gather there, and they've been to the other realms, and how this is simulation can evoke the wrong kind of thoughts in each of us. We have our own, maybe it sounds too much like a video game, but that this is absolutely, we are immortals having this experience, and there is wisdom being gleaned and meaning, and that there's school. Anyway.
Well, this makes me think of Jerome Bernstein's work on the borderland. He's a Jungian analyst who died not too long ago. And he writes in this book called The Borderland that it took him years to understand this, but he had patients who, I guess you could say, were on the spectrum or something. And one woman in particular would come to him and say, I passed a cow on the way in, and the cow told me such and such. And he would work with her. He never shamed her for it, but he would work symbolically. And she kept saying, no, the cow actually said this. Yeah. And finally he realized there are numbers of people being born who live in a borderland that actually do hear and can speak to us about what's happening in that other realm.
And I'd say we all can in our own ways, but we've probably just covered it up or numbed it out or shamed it down. But your article is kind of about that. And again, but yes, certain people have maybe less, blockage.
Well, the other thing is the imagination is a way to access it.
Absolutely.
And I do think physics, and I think dreams are too, obviously, because they come. I always think of dreams as, and that's why I don't know whether I want to encourage you to write them down, but let them stay with you or something. But if you think of how far they have to travel to make their way from that territory, the important ones especially that wake you up to say, I have crossed this liminal space to go from that mysterious place into your physical land and the land of your brain matter to give you this gift. It's important. There's something to be said because it represents that other space. And I do think we Jungians get really trapped in the content of a symbol and we know it instead of extending ourselves to it in this imaginal way of letting it tell us instead of we're going to, speaking of compartmentalize, we're going to compartmentalize it into this.
Yeah. Powerful. I highly recommend to you and everyone listening my chair/professor's book, Mary Antonia Wood. Why is the name slipping out? Here it is. The Archetypal Artist, Reimagining Creativity and the Call to Create.
Oh.
Serpents on the head.
Wow.
Medusa-esque.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
I mean, this book, we'll do some bibliomancy quickly here. Jung, this is pretty interesting, borders. Jung proposed the borders between psyche and matter were permeable. I can't make that one up. Going so far as to suggest that they were very likely one and the same.
Well, that's what he called. Okay, so this
But
is.
isn't that crazy, Borderlands, and what you just said?
Yeah, but what's crazy about what you just said, which makes me so excited because we are in the flow, Zach.
I feel it
And
now.
here's why. Because the man I'm going to interview for a podcast, which is why I was so excited to come here
Yeah.
and have my first experience.
Dress rehearsal.
Yeah, of a podcast, is a mathematician, quantum physicist who is also a Jungian, writing about, and he quotes this very
No way.
thing of Jung.
Wow.
Yeah, this very thing, because he's writing about the connection between spirit and matter, and how Jung, in this way, talked about their, because Jung dealt with this psyche, obviously, he said there are, I don't know what the noun would be. Let's just say aspects of the psyche that look like psychic matter, but they're not. They're something else. And in quantum
What you
physics
mean, like
now,
autonomous beings? Is that what you mean?
I don't know if he meant autonomous beings. I'm just saying it doesn't behave. It looks like it, but it's not psychic material. So
Interesting.
it's a mystery. And now quantum physics is saying
Yeah.
that in the land of matter, there is matter that acts like matter, but it's not matter. And so whatever those two things are can meet. And
Wow.
that's the realm that we're trying to understand.
Is that the psychoidal, would you say?
It's the
it different?
psychoidal for Jung. It's not the psychoidal in physics. It's something else. They have not named it.
So the quote that Mary goes on to
Yeah.
say, which might be the same, since psyche and matter are contained in one and the same world, and moreover in continuous contact with one another, and ultimately rest on irrepresentable transcendental factors.
Irrepresentable?
Irrepresentable
Okay.
transcendental factors. It is not only possible, but fairly probable even, that psyche and matter are two different aspects of one and the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the Tao, she goes on to compare this idea, which I totally resonate with. Rather than the psyche existing within us, it is we who exist within the psyche.
Absolutely.
So we are imaginary friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The uniqueness of the psyche can never enter wholly into reality. It can only be realized approximately, which is kind of like archetypes per se, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah. And so this is another sort of evolution that's happening right now, is this energy that I think that fits into, because what physics is accepting is that everything is energy. It doesn't land somewhere. It's not distinct. It's not. It's all. We are all connect. Everything is connected in this energetic force of life, I guess, or the old God image that wants to be born through our experience of the flow of life. And so we don't ever, this is what I was thinking about on the way up here. How am I going to get all my own personal stuff out of the way so that that energetic force of life can meet the energetic force of life in you and really flow? And that's the word you kept using when you were talking about our meeting. So hopefully this is a way to honor that flow.
Absolutely. And then the personal things to me become wonderful tools in the tool belt of that other thing that's talking.
Yeah. So what's a tool for you? Music, I guess, poetry.
A tool, but a reference, a metaphor, a quote. When you said the life kind of old God, whatever you want to say, is realizing itself through us, being born through us, I immediately think Salinger watching Franny drink a glass of milk was like watching God pouring God into God. So that's a tool in my belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could roll the dice. Let's roll the dice. This is a tool I have here. 5, 5, 3.
Isn't it 2, 3? Oh, no.
Because
Okay,
it's always purple, pink.
Oh, I see.
Whoops,
I see how you do it.
switched it. Yeah, it was 5, 5.
Yeah, it was 5.
There we go. So then we go to 5, 5, 3. Man, I've rolled this 2 times this week. Khalil Gibran. Solitude is a silent storm that breaks down all our dead branches. Okay, so
You must have needed that again.
I always have to pay especially because of how wordy I am, I need to go bathe in silence in some form, which might not even be literal silence necessarily, but it could be householding, watching the NBA at night, or the Great British Bake Off. It's one or the other. But I do have to, rest that part. And I mean, one of my favorite quotes in the book is, it takes a long time to understand nothing. So that's why I say the filibuster, to me, it is kind of a thumb twiddle, what we're doing. We're on a car ride, if you will, a hearse ride right now, all of us, somewhere. And we're going there, one way or the other.
It's the one thing we're all going to succeed at.
Dying. But dying and beyond that, we've been on a journey. We're on some journey. So for me, my evolution and gratitude to be where I am is about making the car ride as enjoyable, but not enjoyable like just entertainment for the sake of it, but meaningfully, enjoyable for my other with a capital O, enjoyable for my invisible friends and visible friends. And humor and playfulness and, following your longing, as Kingsley might say. And then the car ride becomes like silly stories or snacks or, silence. Sometimes we need some silence, just look out the window. But that's what life is to me. And in that, it takes away the intensity of, we got to do. It's like, no, we're on a car ride regardless. It's not going to change anything. But we can kick and scream. We can relax into this and
take the ride.
Yeah. And do our little parts of just, maybe you need to pull over, which you're, I think, allowed to do on this journey, and step outside of the car. Maybe you have a stomach ache. Maybe you're nauseous. Maybe it's time to turn the radio off or on, etc.
Well, what I like about what you're saying is that we're allowed to take ourselves into consideration and listen. That's a piece of solitude. You listening to, I'm going to pull over and get a snack instead of whatever drives, whatever's prodding you. Good for you.
Do you know Haruki Murakami?
Nope.
Japanese surrealist author.
No.
I mean, one of my top, but there's a quote by him that I love. Silence, I discover, is something you can actually hear.
Well, that brings me to the Wendell Berry quote about darkness.
That's where the book starts. That's the first quote in the book, yeah.
In your book,
In this book,
I know.
yeah.
You
Traveled
sent me
by
that.
dark wings, blooms. Yeah, blooming in wings in the dark.
Yeah.
So to return to this blatant disrespect, slander, whatever you want to call it, of everything we're talking about, it becomes humorous. It's like it's so hidden in plain sight. Fish don't talk about water. That as I am on my journey and have been, you begin to see these glaring themes of oppression and slaughter right before our eyes. The abstract skyfather, illuminated, cerebral, disembodied, terrified, masculine, slowly but surely, and not so slowly, not only killing, but erasing and rewriting the realms of magic soul, feminine, words fall short, but we all know what I'm talking about. Can you speak to this heartbreaking but hopefully cosmically intentional slow motion train wreck?
You're assuming it's going to end in a wreck.
I think it already has. I like to think about, there's a comedian, Dimitri Martin, the idea of milk souring, but eventually it turns into cheese. So I think that's a nice analogy for life. And we're just in a really, well, I don't know. Forget what I think about. Well,
I don't want to forget what you think about.
I don't think it's going to end in a wreck. I'm a fierce optimist. That's why I have all of these trappings.
Okay, two things come up. And don't let me forget the second one, which is about Thomas Berry. Do you know who Thomas Berry is?
Rings a bell, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so I'm going to say him after I say this piece.
Great.
I think it remains to be seen whether we're headed for a train wreck. But I think what's happening, and partly I'm coming from this place of being in the middle of studying the work of the man I'm going to interview for the podcast. So he has written an article called 4, The Wholeness of Nature, the number 4. And for me, I don't know if he would agree with me. I'll find out. But I think this slander and this dismissal of the imagination is one aspect of the irrational, and all the other aspects of the irrational that are being dismissed is dismissing the feminine. And that's what Kingsley writes so much about in reality. That's why when you rolled the first group of die, I didn't know what you read, but I added them up in my head, and then sort of numerologically thought, oh, it's a 3. And the 3 is, do you know the axiom of Maria Prophetessa?
I do, but
so it's an alchemical theory, I guess, which I don't understand very well at all. So I'm not trying to. I'm
studying alchemy. That's one of my courses coming up. Not yet, but that's on the horizon. I'll come across her.
I hope you come across her, and I hope you can then explain her to me.
We'll have you back on the show. I was going to say, go. Sorry, and then Thomas Berry. Continue.
Okay, so anyway, she has this formula, axiom, which is not, it's so, it's almost silly. It's the 1 becomes 2, the 2 becomes the 3, and then the 3 becomes the 4. But there is a whole history of actually what that means. And that the completion, which is a whole being, a whole connection to nature that is represented by the 4, is missing. We are missing in our culture that 4th piece, which I believe is the irrational and the feminine. So when I sort of did that in my head and thought, oh, this is a 3, we have to honor that 4th here as the irrational, because that's what of course I'm a woman, so I'm going to see this. You're going to see it in terms of an anima slander of how it manifests in you. I'm going to see it as how it manifests as being a woman in the culture, who, and being a girl with an active imagination when I was a kid and watching that get dismissed. I'm
going to see it as suicidal horses.
And you're going to see it as suicidal horses.
Because the water's right here, but our lips are dry. But mine are wet, way too wet. I got, tadpoles in my eyeballs right now because I'm a horse who drinks way too much water. This is a joke. My point is, that the horses being suicidal is the mass, the 4th element being water, being my metaphor right now for the irrational or that other side.
Good.
And you can lead a horse to water. But,
good, because then however it speaks to you, let it speak, follow it.
Yeah.
Follow it.
But I love that. And then if that part is complete, if not continue, Thomas Berry.
Okay, so Thomas Berry, who is also now dead, considered himself an eco-theologian. And what he said is that if we want to learn how to live as human beings on this earth, we should follow nature, which of course is the feminine, and that we're disparaging right and left and doing all we can to destroy. But he came up with this phrase called creative disequilibrium. And what he said is that nature has two tendencies. It tends to bond or it tends to separate. If it errs on the side of bonding, nothing happens. It's just flat and doesn't evolve. If it errs on the side of separating or dividing, it can explode and destroy itself. So the way that nature evolves...
Also create itself? Which side produces creation?
Probably both, because it's an evolution. It evolves through a creative disequilibrium.
So the combination, the third,
two...
like the marriage of the... Anyway, I'll tell you why I'm saying that, but continue. I like that. So...
Well, that's all I was just going to say.
Well, Jung, in the Red Book, if you recall, there's a point where he sends his soul, which is transformed into a snake, but also can transform into a bird. And can either fly to heaven or descend. And so he asks his soul, and I believe she says she doesn't really want to do this task, to bring the devil up, because Jung wants to speak to the devil. And in my recollection, in a quick summary, one thing the devil says to Jung in this kind of, it's like a moment where Jung's, it's so, he really fractals himself in the Red Book. Like there's a part where he's lashing and torturing his his ego, which makes you think, who is the he doing that? Meanwhile, he sent his soul on these various missions. So it's just, but whoever that Jung is, because it doesn't seem to be his soul, since his soul is elsewhere, and I don't know who's speaking to the devil, but it's Jung, has made this deep decision and is honoring it to basically not do either, which is kind of a conjunctio, to hold the tension, to not heed the beckonings of...
Yeah, so I understand why the creative disequilibrium brought you to that.
And the devil says, it is my nature to be impatient, to be agitated, etc., all these things that are affiliated with perhaps destruction. And that's how things happen, is what the devil says. And says heaven, on the other hand, is so slow and lethargic, and like things just float by. I just thought that was a funny idea.
So one of the things Jung said to this point is that we're here. Of course, we're here in his word to individuate, but we're here, he said, to reconcile opposites. That's the point of this whole thing, is how do we carry the opposites in one little being. And you sound like you travel far out in both those avenues, and it's a big thing to hold on to.
For sure. And I like one of my new monikers for myself is Odysseus Shibari. Shibari is the Japanese rope tying fetish.
Oh, I don't know about
And so
Shibari.
I think of Odysseus tying his wrists to the mast, but doing it in a Japanese rope fetish style. And then I was thinking today, if Odysseus was untied, is that just chaos? Is that a long night of insanity? Orgiastic flute god madness? Or anyway, so I think a lot about things like this. Listening to sirens.
Zach, you have a lot of work to do with this stuff, because you're asking really good questions. And how can you wait for the answer? Your question already begins an active imagination.
Absolutely. Which is why Kevin and I are constantly, either making books or woodcuts, endless albums. And I know time is limited, so I want to also bring up some gems and pieces of your article while we're still here. Every time I have an interview, a conversation that feels so right, I always want to start a whole new podcast. But I already have 3 podcasts, so I can't do it.
You have 3?
But hopefully you can be a guest on all 3.
Oh,
because
sweet.
I could imagine us in an alternate reality with you, Juju, and I having our own show.
Here it is.
Exactly. So we can kind of skim through that, because I think we've covered it. This You know, you
lost
highlighted
feminine.
some amazing points in your article. The word figment, according to Webster's, means something produced by the imagination, something that does not really exist.
Well,
If it-
there's the problem, right? There's the thing we're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And there's the thing that physics is catching up to.
It's materialism. It's the age of materialism
Yeah.
that has...
Right.
Yeah, and so then you go on in this very synchronistic way, because my brother, P.D. Newman, dear friend of mine, is the one who put me on to Kingsley.
Oh, okay.
We have a show called TV in the Day, which I would love to have you on at some point, but he's been telling me a lot about Parmenides. He also told me, which I just kind of have to do because I'm a New York City rapper shit talker for fun.
Do it.
I told him about my active imagination course, and he proceeds to send me the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn developed an analogous practice known as pathworking, which entailed visionary exploration of the Sephiroth and Netavoth of the Kabbalah tree of life. It was in a book on the Golden Dawn that Jung first encountered the concept of an active imagination, what he later dubbed. As Kingsley notes in Catafalque, is that what, which you mentioned, Jung's technique of what he later called active imagination was not some original invention born from his personal crisis, as the standard accounts would have it. He acquired the core of it from a book on the rituals of the Golden Dawn, a late Victorian occult society that borrowed its methods from much older traditions without understanding their sacred power. This active imagination was, in truth, a diluted echo of the ancient art of katabasis, descent into the underworld, the sacred incubation used by Parmenides.
And that's what Peter Kingsley does now.
And Empedocles, but Jung got it secondhand from those modern pretenders. So Kingsley's obviously also a bit of a shit talker.
Yeah, he is.
So you go on, after P.D. Newman sent me that,
Wow.
within a matter of days, I come across your article, or it could have been reversed, either way.
Yeah.
You say, you quote, you bring into consciousness, let me find it. So you quote Kingsley, who said, Parmenides learns there is no separation, that any thought is about something that exists and is just as real and perfect a part of reality, just as real and perfect as any other. Its criterion of rightness lies not in its relation to some solid, concrete, objective external world, but in itself. So you also talk about how Parmenides, the father of logic, returned from his journey where he went to the underworld and met this perhaps repressed, I don't know how she got there, if she lived there from the jump or if she was banished. I don't know how it worked. Or she just was bored of all the bullshit and just said, I'm going on vacation, like Christ.
Or that's her territory.
Or that's her territory. So Parmenides, who's the father of logic, ironically, as you pointed out, returns from this journey, espousing the existence of a mystical, non-ordinary dimension, a place where he met a goddess. And Kingsley says the goddess is utterly ruthless in her generosity, which is even without pausing to think about that, is such a powerful, like it just sounds powerful.
Because
ruthless in her generosity.
It's a pair of opposites
exactly. My favorite things.
Yeah.
Which is why I send emojis like a skull with pink hearts and an egg and an egg. You know, it's just emoji poetry. A place where, whatever you think exists. So I get wobble head when processing those types of concepts, that whatever you think exists.
Wobble head because it's good news?
Both. It's like spiritual vertigo,
Yeah,
it boggles in a good way. And luckily, I think apparently P.D. Newman also told me that Jung, I believe, / various wise ones who were willing to be foolish and stupid, which is why they were wise, perhaps, said that unless you are basically in psychosis or have a tendency to psychosis or are in unbearable anguish, you shouldn't do any of this work.
Well, and whatever way you approach it, let me say this. The way in which you approach it, first of all, yes, people with without an ego structure to contain whatever it is that comes up should not be doing this.
But he's also saying if your material world is working for you, then God bless.
Oh, well, I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Well, meaning you might not be ready yet.
Okay, well, that is
it's like
important to understand.
And I say that to say, like, the wobblehead is not as intense for me because of the small doses of slowly getting out of the Kool-Aid, out of my system. So now I can take certain amounts of pulling the rug. I can discriminate the venom.
You are, yeah.
And reverse venom.
You are an adult snake now.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
But also, and I did write about this, the way, obviously, based on what everybody else has said, I'm not trying to own this original thought, but the way that we approach it is the foundation of the whole thing. I think it's sacred territory. And anything mysterious we have to approach with all kinds of adjectives come up, you know?
In the wobble-headedness, and I totally agree. I mean, there's a mixture of humility that's required.
Yeah.
Like get down and realize that you are not in charge.
Yeah.
Or the you think you are is not in charge.
Yeah.
I also think of William Butler Yeats when thinking about anything you think exists. Yeats says, in dreams begin responsibilities, which is like hygiene. Perhaps.
There's another poem brewing in you.
Definitely. I've probably written it 4,000 times already. Okay. Thinking about, So in the Red Book, so if humility is important, but also for better or for worse, this is not my tactic. And I would say all the greats, including Jung, Buddha, that's the Girl Scout Christ cookie joke, would say, do your own thing. Like, don't follow the ancients who were seeking, but don't reject the ones who found the thing they sought. Right? Meaning, Jung said, thank God I'm young and not a youngin'.
Yeah,
or Buddha said,
yeah.
if you see a Buddha on the road, kill him. Or the idea of what Jung finds, which has now spawned this album I'm working on called Breakfast at Kev's, is this idea of intestines, this image that came to me, intestines forming this labyrinth riddle of empty satiation. And you are meant to be a self-cannibal, metaphorically. Don't eat the body of Christ, eat yourself.
Well, that's the Ouroboros. We're back to the snake.
And when I wrote Ouroboros, spell check changed it to robots.
Wow.
So maybe that's what.
I do say in this article, Zach, and maybe this is, I think quoting Hillman, that Jung said, or either one of them said, this is just one man's way.
Exactly.
Whatever the description is, it's one man's way. You do have to find your own way.
Always.
Always, yeah. And so to follow a formula is a perfect way to not go there.
100%. And you also quoted Hillman, in order to do something radical, you have to leave the terrain of the safe and already known.
The overculture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that is what Jung did, and that's what active imagination invites us to do. It is a passport to an entirely different territory, the territory of the soul, which is what you said. To just quickly finish, this idea of the wobblehead, in Jung's way, which I have my own version of this, there's this balance of humility, but then he gets very aggressive and almost calls out these forces and says, you know what, fuck you motherfuckers, like straight up, like tells the devil, nah, motherfucker, I'm not doing that. You go fuck yourself, like calls their bluff and tortures his ego and calls him like, and it got to the point where it's a little intense for me. You know, he's like, you piece of shit, I'm going to lash you and then I'm going to lash you again. And then I'm going to tie you. I'm going to starve you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to, and just his kind of authoritative command of becoming a bit of a tyrant to these beings was interesting to me, and it made me a bit squeamish at times. But I also respect.
Did you feel that he was overstepping something, or?
No, I felt like I was. It just brought up questions, like, you know, the muse will potentially ragdoll a human and wear them out, and then what good are they? You know. So I think that those beings want you to be both humble, but also.
I see
not
what
equal,
you're saying.
Not necessarily equal. I don't think that's the move, is to suddenly consider yourself equal to these others, but definitely to hold your own a little bit.
Well, are you saying that you think to hold your own is to stand up for the ego in the face of that? Because I'm not so
No,
sure.
not the ego. To stand up for your well-being, or to, you know, at certain levels to...
Well, let me just interrupt you a sec, because it sounds like when you said to stand up for your well-being, what came to me is then it's to stand up for the essence of who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's admirable and probably necessary as it was for Jung. But, you know, you know how he did not want this published.
I know,
there was
it's
such
fascinating.
controversy over this.
Which I believe... So Hillman, I think, could have been you. They all mixed together. Said to have a transcendent experience, we have to be willing to believe in the reality of the unknown, other, and to do that we have to step outside the overarching cultural attitude, which brings with it a certain risk and vulnerability.
Yes.
So that journey of vulnerability, you mentioned it briefly about when you wrote that article, feeling a bit of fear and apprehension around, all right, get it out of the way, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And so the Red Book, after he passed, as you just mentioned, was not published until, however, 60, 50 years, due to fear, perhaps partially due to fear of his empirical reputation being muddied up and discounted.
Yeah.
So how have you navigated your professional, social, and soulful paths? And you mentioned you no longer have a practice. Exactly.
I don't have a practice. And, you know, my way of dealing with that it's always been the same. I run away. Which I did when I was a kid and never went home. And so I honed that skill. And I think part of the reason that you're now a part of my returning in this way is enough of that. And I do think it's the time for me personally, and I've had personal experiences that have said, you gotta not hide anymore and not run.
Stand up.
Stand up, yeah. And so honestly, Zach, that's another reason why I'm grateful to you for this invitation, because you are part of whether you, of course you didn't know, but you're part of the universe saying it's time, you know, take the risk to just be who you are, not that I feel there's anything to apologize here in this article, because when I reread it, I thought I stand by it. But I haven't been a part of the Jungian community. And now suddenly I'm going to be interviewing one of the people there. And so I guess I'm making my way back on new ground that may... Partly because I accept myself more, but also because what I've learned from the Jungian community is that it's okay to be who you are. I made up the stuff about feeling like, I got to get away from here.
Showing up in your underwear to teach a class.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, I want to say this one thing to you because it keeps coming to me and then it'll leave me alone. I used to work for this man who said, what is the biggest nation in the world that ever and beyond the world? You know, what is the biggest nation? The imagination.
Beautiful.
It has that word in it.
Yeah.
And we can go there.
Yeah. And it's mutual, everything you just said. I'm grateful that, how your article reaffirmed my path, and it's always a mirror for that.
Good.
And I really do hope that this can reconnect us, at least to check in and continue the conversation.
Me too, Zach.
I feel a little bit like talking a bit too much, or, there's always that kind of shadow in my mind of, oh, what if it was another way right now? What if I was acting or saying less or letting, so more room for that, trusting today.
And in some other dimension, it was another way,
100%.
And it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and let me just say this other thing, because my experience of what showed up in you today is your enthusiasm. And, the etymology of that word is to be filled with God. / life, that force that we talked about. You're filled with it, and you brought it. So you did a good thing for the real you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I'm coming out of one of the darkest funks I've had suddenly in a long time. I've been very, just connected to my daily ritual and kind of, so it's funny. Yesterday, I was thinking, I might have to cancel because I just feel so, but I honored it and I leaned in, and so it's nice to be coming out, and I'm grateful to that. I'm so glad
I'm glad for all kinds of reasons that you didn't.
Me as well.
Thank you for bringing you.
Me as well. Thank you. So, with an eye on the clock, when you talked about, and in the beginning as well, the passport, would you go on this journey? You have to be willing to leave the overculture and be vulnerable. What came to mind around you is she's got a ticket to ride. That was echoing as I read that. You've got a ticket to ride. What is the transportation like for newbies looking to travel to this other realm? I thought of Sissy Hankshaw, if you're familiar with Even Cowgirls Get the Blues.
Oh, okay.
With her big thumb hitchhiking.
Yeah.
So we've covered, I think, various clues and keys of how some of us like to travel, whether it be pain, being a motivator to go to this bus station, juji, creativity, silence, nature. Juju is wanting pets, which will, no, Juju.
Why?
Well, then you're off the mic.
Sorry, Juju.
Sorry, Juju. You're very cute, though. It's tough. So any little, for fun, in this moment, tips that you would have for people listening to begin this journey, because it's different for each of us. And as I mentioned off the mic, let me rephrase. I've had resistance to writing down dreams. Funny enough, this active imagination course is my least favorite thus far, but your article made it more powerful. But there's something I don't know if it's because I'm so constantly creating that I feel like I'm already living in a waking dream, but the act of sitting down, and I don't know how Jung did that, because that's not how my creativity works, where I'm entering into these realms and talking to others.
Plus he painted all those amazing.
He was tripping on whether or not he was or he wasn't. He was doing something. But yeah, any fun's a silly word to use for that, but tips for traveling for you.
What sticks in my head is your image of the person with the thumb out.
Yeah.
It's a great image because it's risky to get in somebody's car, for starters. So I want to sort of back up to, I guess I want to say, to honor your question, make sure you want to go somewhere. And then make sure I'm going to stick with your image. Make sure you've got what you need to go.
Pack.
Yeah. and then go and stick your thumb out.
Beautiful. I think that's it. In this kind of realm, you know, specifics can actually muddy things up. Or as Haruki said, if you don't understand it without an explanation, you won't understand it with an explanation. I've always liked that.
Yeah,
one.
that's great. Yeah.
So let's see. I went on. I was fascinated. I don't want to dive too deeply into this in this moment, but your highlighting of, now we know that before reason came to define the separating necessary decisiveness of the masculine principle, it used to refer to the undifferentiated fluid realm of the feminine where everything is united in oneness. Active imagination offers us access to that realm we need so badly in our world today. And you also went on to talk about the etymological roots of the word logos.
How great is that?
Which was so awesome.
That's from Peter Kingsley's book. That's amazing.
And so the transition of the word logos into the rational territory of the masculine, the feminine needed to be banished. And as the way I understand it in my memory echo is that logos was initially meant more as a conversation, as opposed to a word that is the thing. Right. So it's an ongoing dialogue.
Yeah.
I love that.
It flows.
So etymological highway robbery left and right. Is it time to drive this car off a cliff? Am I Thelma and you're Louise today in this hearse? How do we muster the strength to keep paying close attention to the numinous, sharpening our word spoons? Which, as I wrote that, which I think I'm quoting my dad's poetry, I thought, man, that's an aggressive, why does it have to be sharpening the word spoon? Why can't it be watercolor painting with flower petals? My mind tries to eat itself sometimes. It collapses in on itself.
Well, it's interesting that you say it's eating itself, because my physical experience of what you just said with the watercolors softened everything.
And that's why I noticed the sharpening spoon was like this prison, and that was still the masculine perhaps wanting to be this kind of battleground, which Well,
you battled it out. Right before our very eyes.
Exactly. So anyway, to go back and having a meaningful and, dare I say, delusionally fun time. So how do we do this? And dare I say, enjoy, have delusional fun, knowing that we are in a Babylon sleep paralysis, nightmare of sorts collectively. Obviously, you're pointing out all of the wonderful ways that we're seeing some thawing or awakenings. But it's still pretty tough out here. And I try, which is maybe why I'm paying penance the past few days to the grief and the seeming meaninglessness of everything. And what's the pointness and the aches and the squirming existentially. Because a mind like the one I possess, as you might imagine, can be intense on the pillow alone at night sometimes. So I don't even know what my question is, but yes.
Well, can I tell you what's coming up for me,
please.
Since you invited my grandmother in here?
Which was the next point, yeah.
My grandmother, with whom I did an active imagination this morning. And one of the things, I don't know what your question is either, but, and I probably wouldn't know I wouldn't know the answer.
It's how to do, it doesn't matter.
But what the message that I got from my grandmother this morning was, just do the work. You just do the work. And it's miserable sometimes. But here's what she said to me. And so I'm going to say it to you as a grandmother figure for you. You probably have wonderful grandmothers, but now I'm another one. You are capable of it. You are sturdy and built for it. So just do it. Just, you're going to make yourself nuts about it and wonder what's the point. And that's part of the thing. And you just do it. My grandparents worked their asses off, and they turned out to be really famous people who would have been terrified had they known where they were going to end up. But she said, it's because we were capable of it. They just first did this, and then not for the sake of getting there, but just because they liked singing, and then they liked whatever it is, So I think you're that, Zach. You're a strong, sturdy being.
Thank you. And part of that is a recurring feeling of not being that.
Yeah.
Which is something to kind of weave into the awareness and expect and leave.
Yeah. Oh, there that is again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of your guests.
Exactly. So we have it's 1:10. I know you have to leave.
Yeah. I mean, I feel
Yeah. I'm
full.
almost complete.
Okay.
Because I'm the famous last words on my tombstone. It'll say one last thing. So I'm that guy.
Mine'll say, I tried.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Apparently the creator, I'm slipping his name right now, of Peanuts, the show.
Oh, yeah. Schultz,
on his deathbed, his friend asked, do you think we get to come back? And he said, if they stamp our hands.
That's great. How about the atheist on his headstone?
What does it say?
All dressed up and nowhere to go.
Wow. I've never heard that one. I know the dyslexic atheist insomniac.
What's that?
Dyslexic atheist insomniac lays awake at night wondering, is there really a dog?
Yeah.
That one's silly. So we've talked about this, creativity as medicine, art for art's sake.
Mm-hmm.
I know you technically because of my dad's relationship with Hawk,
Mm-hmm.
and they both have danced in the commerce of creativity. So that I always think about that. And I think about how hard I tried to be accepted in that and was signed to a label. I've had my flirtations where I was almost there and it kept kind of spitting me back out, which now makes sense to me. And I often think about those who the gods wish to punish, they answer their prayers, that kind of thinking, whether that was Wilde or T.S. Eliot. But
Okay, can I interrupt you?
please.
Because I was telling you about Fee and Paul, the guy.
Yeah.
One of the things he said is that the constrictions of today become the salvations of tomorrow, and the
Interesting.
salvations of tomorrow become the constrictions beyond that. And we're just in that dance.
And that's my neighbor Tom, who I'm convinced is an angel, saying, strong people create good times create weak people create bad times create strong people.
Wow.
Strong people create good times.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I love that one.
That's very cool.
That's very Ouroboros or
Yeah,
Ouroboros.
yeah.
It's pretty dope. So, okay, I'm gonna read this infamous poem that is now dubbed our episode,
to close us.
and then I'll roll the dice one last time to officially close us, just to bring us down. So this book is neither here nor there. It's from neither here nor there. It's called Wet Cement Tombstones.
That's great. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch tombstone.
By Byzantine Jones. And the other title, because it flips, is Somewhere Something is Beeping.
Oh, that's so great.
And it was written in about 3 hours while I was hands-on with rock.
Really? And
Yeah.
did you pick the poem you're going to read ahead of time, or you just randomly?
It came to me this morning thinking about our episode. And this book comes with 2 dice because the outcome of 2 dice is 36. So there's 36 poems. I'm very into dice and art. So the imaginary friends are not suicidal horses. The syllabus alone is worth the price. I am the horse with a wet mouth, which means I'll live longer, most likely. Not sure where I'm going, that's for sure. Saddled and shoed, by choice this time. I accept you, rider. You don't need the spurs.
Wow.
And the Spurs are playing rock in my favorite team, OKC, tonight. And they've won 3 times in a row, and we're not happy about that. So we don't need the Spurs on multiple levels. Go OKC. All right, last dice rolls. I say rolls because I have to break out these dice as well from a different book, which has 36 very oddball quotes. And I just want to see what the odd, irrational gods are talking to us.
Awesome. Me too.
I think I'll end on the oddball note, which might leave a door open. We'll see. So this time with God Help Me I'm Awake, we got 6-3. My dad sends his love, by the way.
Oh, right back at him.
Yeah. This is perfect because I was thinking about it when I was rambling about sharpening word spoons and or watercoloring with flower petals. I literally thought of this and had to bite my tongue.
Wow, and here it is.
And here it is.
Wow.
When you like a flower, you just pluck it. That's what I was thinking. But then if you're watercoloring with flowers, did you pluck them? Because that's not fair. You should, or did. When you like a flower, you just pluck it. When you love a flower, you water it daily.
Oh, that's beautiful, Zach.
That's Buddha.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that one. See, I balance my gibberish hot sauce with some good,
Well, you're getting
grounding.
help because that was a random invitation from the mystery to hand over the right poem.
Exactly. Always.
You're getting help.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's all real, honestly. Yeah. I mean, it's been said in all sorts of different ways, but to me, it's the hollow bone idea of your goal, the goal of the elder. And I'm a baby elder, I like to think, is to become a hollow bone for the others to come through. But to me, it's about the discretion, or as Dizzy Gillespie said, it's taken me my whole life to know what not to play.
Yeah.
So it's really just having a good ear or a refined palate as you select what is not yours, of course. So last roll. So this is always the kind of black gold and vampire red 2-1. That's the order of those in this book.
And we're back to 3.
And where you beginning to know it for the first time, as T.S. Eliot reminds. I love that quote.
I don't know it.
That's a shortening of the full quote, but it's basically to end where you begin. And
to know it for the
for
first time.
time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which I think is why we're here, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
And which is also individuation. Oh, darn it. We got a long one. Oh, no, we didn't. 2-1. Thank God. Saved us from 1-2 would have been. We got a pretty long one. Eric Neumann. He really blew my mind.
Did he?
How about for you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I read him so long ago. I love his stuff about the mother. That was interesting.
I had a guest on here, which I love her, but I'm not going to name her, and the episode will never come out, who, when I read Eric Neumann quotes to her, she had an allergic reaction and got so angry and said that Jung and Eric and all these people are the basically the worst people in the world, and they've fucked us all up. And it was so like, I held it, but I had like an angry, talk about grandmother energy that was furious at these men who have overcomplicated. And I was thinking, what's ironic about that is A, they're helping me.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. And B, they were actually fighting for what you are saying we need to do.
Well, I wouldn't be saying it were it not for them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Okay.
The creative artist whose mission it is to compensate for consciousness and the cultural canon is usually an isolated individual, a hero who must destroy the old in order to make possible the dawn of the new. When unconscious forces break through in the artists, when the archetypes striving to be born into the light of the world take form in him, he is as far from the men around him as he is close to their destiny, for he expresses and gives form to the future of his epoch. Yeah.
His time.
Neither
I
here
think
nor
that's,
there.
but I think it's beautiful.
Me too.
Yeah, that's a beautiful note to end.
Yeah, and that's the fourth of the prophetessa, the epoch potentially being the irrational and the greatest nation. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for, really, Zach, thank you for letting me be here and having this experience.
Anytime, for real though, anytime.
Barking a ghost, boy, I hear you. Hiding the hurt, but it's see-through. Wearing the punchline, you can't chew on your own feelings. Now you're a demon. Barking at ghost boy, I hear you. Wearing the punchline, I see through all of your comedic news, covering up that big old bruise. Don't play numb, don't play tough, don't play God, you're breaking down. Don't play numb, don't play tough, don't play God.
This seemed like a job for Odysseus. Claustrophobic body is limited. Goddess got me bobbing for Macintosh, hiding in place I like clitoris. Who keep me boxed in, locked into these walls? Wolf mother logos, arrows wanders halls. Don't squander arrows on the mannequins and dolls unless they crawl to the altar and call your mother a bitch. Little jumper cables please, umbilical withdrawals. Certainly these syllables will symbolically solve the problem they reveal to be no problem at all. The circle in the square like mandala volleyball. She got it on me, and I think I've changed my mind. I used to have sharp teeth, but these dreams got me grinding. She got it on me, and I think I've changed my mind. I used to have sharp teeth, but these dreams got me grinding. Better not, K-N-O-T, otherwise my hands will get ahead of my Chase Bruja breathing like a heavy cop. On the beat, the team bleed for devil duck. Let it cut, it's too deep to stitch. Switch skins, the leash gone, beast yawn twitches. Her claws in my back up, U-S-E, like my wife's my mistress. Shibari, I'll be voodoo Barbie doll. Don't call cause I'm already falling in love with my anima. Sanity almonds, nuts, that's what examiners call him. They're not wrong, rope strong, wrists are bloody. Odysseus, fish, witch, whispers, fuck me. Dream, insemination, Haruki ink, 1Q84, the abyss is pink, I slip. Kevin gripping on the finger licking, liquor stamp, kiss a kitten like I'm swamp dog, lost in the fog, lighthouse tricking me into thinking that you're a siren I could visit, but it isn't, is it? Isn't safe, is it? Are you? Who are you?